Greetings, Patrick here. Dollar Theater, the Voters Edition. That's right. Wow, we're back. This week, we decided to do some hard-hitting action. We put up 4 movies up that you guys can vote on, and see which one we would watch and review. And the movies were the Rhythm Section featuring Jude Law and Blake Lively, Freezer starring Dylan, the Clove Hitch Killer McDermott, Braven, Jason Momoa, Joe Wagner, Stephen Lang, and Entrapment from 1999 with Sean Connery in her prime, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Well, I thought that would be a pretty interesting tussle to see who would win, and I thought it'd be taken down to the last day. But no, actually, the movie that we were going to watch and talk about won pretty fast and pretty convincingly, and that is from 1999, Entrapment, featuring Sean Connery, Sir Sean Connery, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Ving Rhames, and the mighty Will Patton. Wow, fun movie. I saw this in the theater when it came out, and because like at that time, what red-blooded American male that was not excited to see Catherine Zeta-Jones on the screen? She had just blown up back there in the 90s with Zorro, and then she had done several movies since then, and this turned to be a big hit for her and Sean. So Entrapment came out in 1999, directed by John Amiel, and it concerns an insurance agent, insurance operative trying to go after a master thief. Robert McDougal is the master. Mac is the master thief. The insurance agent that is assigned to go after him is Virginia Baker, or Jen, played by Catherine Zeta-Jones. And so the movie opens up with a daring heist, and someone is going to, they're in there to steal a Rembrandt, but instead of, taking the Rembrandt with them and risk getting caught with it, they do something rather clever, is they actually simply mail it to to an address. So, the worst that could happen if they got caught, probably would be just, like, hey, what do you think you're doing? But it wouldn't be for theft because the picture would have already been mailed out and there was no proof. So it's pretty damn clever. And so we think that it's Sean Connery's character. But quite honestly, as soon as we know that it's Sean Connery, we know that it's not Sean Connery. It's not going to be him, because that was just way too daring of a theft. And like Will Patton's supervisor mentions, Victor Cruz mentions, like, he's 60 years old. He's not going to be gallivanting around like that. But doesn't mean that he's still not a master thief, and he can still get things done. After Jen gets assigned to go after him, she sees this firsthand on 2 different levels. That one, that Mac has gone into a firm and stolen $20 million worth of chips. And also, he spots her following him. So they meet really cute. She goes back to her hotel room, and all her stuff is, all her clothing and all her equipment is all taken away. She's trying to figure out what to do with that. She takes a rest, and she wakes up. She senses that there's someone in her hotel room. She wouldn't go grabs the gun, but Sean Connery's character Mac has already gotten it. So those two start talking, and turns out that Jen pretty much wants to work with Mac on a couple of heists. She says, he says, I'm a thief. I stole that Rembrandt. And then Mac shows that, really? You mean this one here? He intercepted it. So they go back to Mac's castle over in the UK, and she's got this big heist, and Mac's like, well, hold on, I just don't really know you that well, so I gotta go ahead and and I don't know about your skills either. So he puts her through some paces to steal this really unique mask as well. You know what? I tell you what, if we could steal this mask, then we'll do your caper. So they train, and this is the infamous scene where we're seeing Catherine Zeta-Jones practice going around over laser beams, and yeah. It was really cool. It was a really smart piece of casting. I was watching that scene, and and I'm looking at it practically. Before I was looking at it like a fanboy, but then I'm looking at it practically and going like, they really picked the right person for this role, because Catherine Zeta-Jones is very slim. I mean, she's very slim, and she would have to be in order to do this. I mean, the actress who played Jen would have to be really thin, and because it's a very difficult. You watch her go through it; she looks more like a gymnast, which I do believe that Catherine Zeta-Jones was at one time, either a gymnast or I think she was. Oh well. But it's a really cool scene, and it does show the difficulty of her getting in there and working with Mac to get this mask. Though she makes a critical mistake. First, she makes a critical mistake in practice. That is when she achieves, she gets the mask. She's really happy about it, and then the Mac points out that, yes, you got the mask, but in your celebration, you forgot one key thing, and that is it's a pressure plate. I mean, it's like Indiana Jones, where he's like, taking the idol and then putting something back with the same equal weight, so there wouldn't trigger any traps or any alarms. And she doesn't do this. She's so happy just getting the mask. So he says, you gotta be careful about that. It's not a success. So after they break in to steal this mask, back there in 1999, you weren't really thinking about this, but here in 2025, when Jen steals the mask, she makes a critical mistake. She has taken some chewing gum, and she has made it so they would block the plate, but it's from her. I mean, it's like, wow, you might as well just jump up and down and clap her hands and say, hey, I'm here. When you're putting chewing gum with your own DNA and putting on the button. I was like, yeah, that wouldn't probably work today. I think your ass would probably be greeted by the cops by the time you got back to your house. Anyway, they do succeed in getting the mask, and that sets up the big heist. And Jen tells Mac what it is, and it's a doozy. And but we're starting noticing that we know that Jen is working for the insurance company, and she makes a lot of mistakes. She goes out to get Mac a present after he gets her a beautiful dress for the heist, and she calls her superior in a small village at the first available payphone. Now, knowing McDougal as we know Mac as we know that he hasn't been caught for a good reason, and that is he's extremely careful. And sure enough, we see that he has had that phone bugged for his own protection. And so, that way he gets warning to any, if anybody's after him for any sort of reason and uses that phone, he'll know about it. And that's what happens. So when he does confront her, he thinks that she is actually after him to arrest him. And the twist of the matter is that she only went to joined the insurance company only to do one thing, and that is to meet him and do her own heist. And so what we think is Jen chasing after the master thief Mac. It turns out that Mac has a secret, and they're not who's being chased suddenly becomes very cloudy. We're not sure who's being chased or by who. I really like this movie. I do. I liked it. I liked it then. I liked it now. I know today, you haven't seen it in 20 years or so. Probably, I don't think I've probably seen it since it came out. I do remember this movie being a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, but But that's okay because I really enjoyed the mystery in many respects. But seeing this now and knowing, watching it again, man, the plot holes come up big. That's the problem with Entrapment is the plot holes. I mean, wow. I mean, you can fly a jet through them. And I have a problem with plot holes. I mean, it's like a master thief like MacDougal is going to go ahead and open his. He's going to just roll over and and just do whatever, just start working with this girl. Just like no vetting, no nothing. Just like, he spots her, says, okay, yeah, goes in her hotel room and says, yeah, we can work together. So come to my house. There's all his treasures that he has stolen throughout his long career. Yeah, these are all of my, it's just like, you don't know who she is. It was just like, wow. It's just like, now if they had done Entrapment, she would have put down her glass of wine or tea or whatever, and he would have had that shit, he would have had her DNA, he would have had her background, he would have checked her social media, status update. Heading over to Max, that sort of thing. But it's just like as soon as he sees, he sees her, he just, his judgment goes out the table, out of the window. And of course, even during the big hook, the big twist at the end, it still even rings true even more so. It's I don't know. I just didn't like the story how fast it happened. I think it would have been more interesting to have more of a cat and mouse game. Like to me, as having her go inside his castle and manage to steal something from him. To prove her worth, to prove like, hey, I'm not just a thief, but oh, here, by the way, here's the Rembrandt that you stole from me, the one you stole from me. Well, I wanted it back, and then do that, something a little bit more. And the thing is, though, the running time in this movie, which is 2 hours, would have provided the room to expand on the story a lot more than it did. So that was my biggest complaint. Visually speaking, this is a very good movie. I love the cinematography. I like the on-location shots. It's very cool. Story-wise is where this movie stumbles. But it is saved a little bit. It is saved a little bit because it has a hell of a cast. Ving Rhames as a Mac's right-hand man. Whatever Mac needs, his buddy gets. Thibodeau gets. Will Patton, of course, is always excellent. He plays Jen's boss at the insurance company, Waverly Insurance. He's outstanding. He's just trying to, and he has feelings for his agent. He likes her quite a bit. He believes in her ability. So he comes across as being a very compassionate boss. Confused. He's definitely confused. Catherine Zeta-Jones, like I said, this is right in her prime. She was never more lovelier than she was in this movie here. She's just stunning. And Sir Sean Connery, of course, James Bond. This was getting closer to the end of his run. I think the last movie he did was The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I think came out only 4 years after this. So, but he looked like he was having fun. I will say this, he did look like he was having fun, and it was a very physical part for him. Very physical. I mean, he wasn't just sitting there behind the computer screen telling her what to do and how to do it. He and his character, Mac, is a very cool character. And they hinted at a potential sequel for this movie, but I was like, I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm glad they didn't, because the story was contained, and they rode off, to their fates. Whatever happened to them should have happened to them, and I like that. So yeah, that's Entrapment. Came out of Warner Brothers. You can get this, I'm sure, or 20th Century Fox. I'm sorry, 20th Century Fox. You can get this pretty much probably on eBay or Amazon. I'm not sure if it's still in print or not, or I don't even know if it got a Blu-ray release. I'm sure it did. So I got my copy at the library. This is an early edition, so there's no really little special features on here. This is the early days of bonus features before they, they put all sorts of doodads in there. So a lot of it's just, sound schematics, different languages and whatnot. All right, that is it for Entrapment. I want to thank you for watching, and we're going to be back for another week of action. We have an idea what it is, but we won't tell you until we post it. All right, well, that is it for us. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and then more importantly, leave a comment. Thank you again for your support, and we will talk at you soon.